Stop everything you are doing right now. Put down your phone for just a moment. Close the other tabs. Silence the noise around you. Because this message did not reach you by accident. If you leave too soon, you may miss the final secret heaven has kept hidden from you until this exact moment. That secret is connected to the person who has been thinking about you. The person who tried to act normal, tried to keep distance, tried to stay silent. Yet deep inside, they cannot escape the energy you left in their soul. This is not just a love message. This is a sacred signal, an urgent warning, a divine door opening over your destiny. Have you ever wondered why they looked at you that way and then pulled back? Why they made you feel something so real, so deep, so unspoken, but never fully confessed it? Maybe you thought you were imagining too much. Maybe you blamed yourself for feeling a connection no one had confirmed yet. But listen closely, you are not crazy. You are not too sensitive, and you did not misread every sign. Something is moving in the darkness, like fire hidden beneath ashes, like a sacred key waiting for the appointed time to be placed in your hand. Archangel Michael says, "This message has found you because heaven is demanding your full attention. Not tomorrow, not when it is convenient, but right now." By the end of this video, a hidden secret will be revealed why the first moment they touch you, especially the first kiss, will not only make them remember you, but will cause every wall of defense inside them to collapse. They will realize you are not someone they can forget, not a passing emotion, not a small chapter in their life. You are someone God has set apart, carrying a light that makes the darkness inside them unable to hide any longer. If this message is speaking directly to your spirit, comment 777 as a declaration that you are ready to receive heaven's confirmation. And before we go deeper, take 1 second to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this message with someone who may be silently waiting for the same confirmation tonight. Your support helps this message reach the chosen ones who need it at the exact divine moment. Now prepare yourself, because the person you think has forgotten you may be the very person heaven is awakening the most. Right now, while you are listening to this, someone is thinking about you in a way they cannot easily explain. Not casually, not lightly, not as a passing thought they can brush away and forget. They may be doing ordinary things, walking through an ordinary day, speaking to people, answering messages, pretending everything is normal. But somewhere beneath the surface, your name keeps rising inside them like a bell echoing through a quiet cathedral. They hear a song, and suddenly they wonder what you would say about it. They see something beautiful, and without planning to, they imagine showing it to you. They pass through a moment that should have nothing to do with you. Yet somehow, there you are again, standing in the secret place of their thoughts. This is not because you chased them. This is not because you forced your way into their heart. It is because something about your presence left a spiritual imprint they cannot erase. You carry a light they did not expect. You carry a peace they did not know they needed. You entered their life like a small flame in a dark room, and now that room cannot pretend it never saw light. They may not have the language for it yet, but their spirit knows. Their heart knows. Something inside them recognizes that you are different and chosen one. This is where you must listen carefully. You were not placed in their path by accident. There are encounters heaven allows because they are part of a larger blueprint, a grand design that human eyes cannot understand at first. The Bible says in Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." That means your life carries intention. Your presence carries assignment. Your energy carries a purpose deeper than appearance, deeper than attraction, deeper than anything they can explain with logic. They are trying to continue their life as if nothing has shifted. But something has shifted. They feel it in the silence. They feel it when they are alone. They feel it when they try not to think about you and realize that not thinking about you takes more effort than simply admitting the truth. But what they feel is not only attraction, it is something deeper, older, and far more dangerous to the walls they built around their heart. There is a sacred energy between you and this person, and it is far more serious than a simple feeling, a passing attraction, or a beautiful coincidence. This is the part you must not ignore, because what has been moving between you two has been building in silence like fire beneath the ashes, like thunder gathering behind a dark mountain, like a divine door waiting for the exact second heaven allows it to open. You have felt it. They have felt it. Even when no words were spoken, something in the atmosphere changed when you were near each other. Their eyes stayed a little longer. Their silence became heavier. Their body pulled close, while their fear pulled them back. That is not ordinary. That is not random. That is a sacred signal. This is why the situation feels so intense. You are not only dealing with emotions, you are standing at the edge of a spiritual shift. When someone's soul recognizes yours before their mouth is brave enough to confess it, confusion begins to tremble. Fear begins to fight. Old wounds begin to rise from the darkness because the light you carry is exposing everything they tried to bury. They may act calm, but inside, a storm is moving. They may appear distant, but distance has not protected them from you. In fact, the more they try to step away, the louder your presence becomes inside them. You have become the sound they cannot silence, the memory they cannot erase, the question heaven keeps placing in front of their heart, chosen one. Understand this clearly. You were not sent into their life to entertain their uncertainty. You were not placed on their path to become another temporary distraction. You carry a kingdom weight, a divine assignment, a presence that forces hidden things to come into the light. That is why they are afraid, not because you are too much, but because you are real. You make pretending impossible. You make shallow love feel empty. You make every half-hearted connection they used to accept suddenly feel like a wilderness with no water. Around you, their soul remembers what it was created to desire: safety, truth, loyalty, surrender, and a love that does not collapse when storms come. So, if you have been asking yourself, did I imagine this? Did I feel something that was never there? The answer is no. You felt the movement before it became visible. You sensed the fire before it reached the surface. You heard the echo before the door opened. Have you ever felt someone looking at you like their soul recognized you before their mouth could confess it? If yes, comment "I felt it," and listen carefully, because this is why they pulled back, not because they felt nothing, but because they felt too much. The truth is, you made something real rise inside them, and that is what frightened them. They had learned how to survive with feelings they could control, conversations they could keep light, connections they could leave before anything demanded honesty. That was their safe place, a shallow shore, a place where the water never reached their chest, where no one could see what they were hiding beneath the surface. Then you entered their life, and suddenly the shallow place was no longer enough. They may not have admitted this to anyone, but your presence disturbed the false peace they had built. Before you, they could tell themselves they were fine. They could say they did not need anything deeper. They could pretend temporary attention was the same as love. That distance was wisdom, that keeping one foot outside the door was protection. But around you, those old excuses started losing power. What once felt safe began to feel empty. What once felt normal began to feel like a cage. You did not force that realization on them. You simply carried a kind of truth they could not stand in front of without seeing themselves clearly. That is why their reaction may have confused you. One moment, they seemed drawn to you. The next, they became careful, quiet, almost guarded. It was not simple indecision. It was the panic of someone realizing that if they came any closer, they would have to become honest. Honest about what they feel. Honest about what they fear. Honest about the life they have been living. The wounds they have not healed. And the kind of love they secretly want but never believed they could handle. You represent a door they cannot walk through casually. Behind that door is vulnerability, loyalty, emotional responsibility, and a future that requires more than beautiful words. They know this, somewhere deep inside. They know you are not someone they can approach with confusion in their hands. You are not a resting place for mixed signals. You are not a kingdom they can enter while still serving old fears. If they come toward you, something in them must change, and that is the weight of this moment. This is not about whether they like you. That question is too small. The real question is whether they are willing to let the version of themselves that runs from love finally die. Because you did not awaken a feeling in them. You awakened a decision, and before that decision becomes visible, heaven may allow the pressure to increase until they can no longer hide from what their soul already knows. Some people do not run from love because they are careless. They run because love once became a place where they were wounded. Before you ever entered their life, they may have already learned how to survive by keeping parts of themselves locked away. They learned how to smile without fully opening. They learned how to answer questions without revealing the ache underneath. They learned how to stay close enough to feel something, but far enough to escape before the heart became exposed to the world. They may have looked independent, calm, untouchable, but heaven saw the hidden room inside them. Heaven saw the place where betrayal left dust, where disappointment left shadows, where old names still echoed like footsteps in an empty house. Then you appeared, and you did not break the door down. That is what made you different. You did not demand that they explain every scar. You did not chase them into confession. You did not try to control their pace or force their heart to perform healing before it was ready. Your presence carried something quieter, something stronger than pressure. You brought peace. You brought warmth. You brought the kind of safety they had stopped expecting from anyone. And without even realizing it, they began to breathe differently around you. Their spirit lowered its weapons. Their guarded heart, the one that had been trained to expect danger, began to wonder if maybe closeness did not have to feel like a trap. Archangel Michael says, "Your gentleness is not weakness. It is spiritual armor wrapped in peace." That is why your energy reached places in them that words could not reach. A harsh person could never have touched that hidden place. A shallow connection could never have awakened it. But your light entered slowly, like sunrise through a window that had been covered for years. You made them feel seen without making them feel exposed. You made them feel understood without making them feel interrogated. You gave them a glimpse of what love feels like when it does not come to take, use, punish, or abandon. This is why your presence unsettles them so deeply. Healing can feel frightening to someone who has made pain their normal. Peace can feel unfamiliar to a heart that has lived in battle too long. In the Bible, Ruth did not force Boaz to recognize her. She simply walked in faithfulness, humility, and divine timing. And at the appointed moment, God opened a door of restoration that no human hand could have forced. That is what heaven is teaching you here. What is sacred does not need to be chased into existence. It is revealed when the time is right. So if they have been quiet, careful, or slower than you expected, do not assume nothing is happening. Something is happening beneath the surface. Old fears are being confronted. Old patterns are losing their grip. A wounded heart is beginning to understand that love does not always arrive as a storm. Sometimes it arrives as a light, gentle enough to stay. And once safety enters a wounded heart, the next touch can become a turning point. And then comes the moment they cannot prepare for. The first kiss. Not just a kiss, not just a romantic scene, not just something sweet that happens and disappears into memory. This is the moment where everything they have been hiding, resisting, questioning, and praying they could control suddenly stands in front of them with no mask on. Before that kiss, they could still explain you away. They could still tell themselves it was only chemistry, only curiosity, only a strange connection that would fade if they stayed busy long enough. But when they finally get that close to you, when the space between you disappears and their heart feels what their mouth was too afraid to say, something inside them breaks open. This is where the shift becomes undeniable. Their body recognizes what their mind tried to deny. Their spirit feels what their fear tried to bury. The walls they built after disappointment, rejection, betrayal, and years of emotional survival begin to crack. Not loudly, not dramatically for the world to see, but inside them. It is like a throne room going silent because the king has entered. Everything false has to bow. Every excuse loses its authority. Every old defense realizes it cannot stand against what is real. Maybe you have experienced a moment like this before, where one touch, one look, 1 second of closeness carried more truth than 1,000 conversations. If you have, you know exactly what this means. There are moments that do not ask for permission before they change you. They arrive like lightning in the middle of a storm, and after they pass, nothing feels the same. That is what this first kiss does to them. It does not create the connection. It confirms it. It does not begin the fire. It reveals how long the fire has already been burning. And I believe this is why heaven sometimes allows silence before confirmation. Because if everything happened too early, they might have touched you without understanding the weight of you. They might have kissed you without realizing that your presence carries destiny, healing, and responsibility. But now, after all the distance, all the hesitation, all the quiet battles in their mind, that kiss becomes a sacred seal. The Bible says in Song of Solomon 8:6, "Set me as a seal upon your heart." That is not weak love. That is not casual love. That is love marked with weight, with fire, with a seriousness that cannot be treated like entertainment. In that moment, they are not thinking about running. They are not calculating how to protect themselves. They are not rehearsing excuses. For the first time, they are simply present, fully present. And that scares them because peace feels unfamiliar when your heart has lived in survival mode for too long. Yet at the same time, it heals them. Your closeness becomes a divine door. Your warmth becomes a hidden key. Your presence becomes proof that maybe love does not have to feel like a battlefield. Maybe love can feel like coming home after years in the wilderness. So when that kiss happens, understand this: they will remember more than the touch. They will remember the safety. They will remember the stillness. They will remember the way their soul stopped fighting for just one sacred moment. And if you believe one divine moment can change an entire life, come on. This is my confirmation. If you have ever felt a connection so deep it scared both people into silence, right, I know this feeling. Because the most dangerous part is not the kiss itself. It is what begins inside them after it happens. After that moment, they will try to return to normal. But normal will no longer recognize them. They may wake up the next morning and reach for their phone like they always do. But before they even open a message, your face will cross their mind. They may step into work, answer questions, sit with friends, laugh at the right moments, and still feel like part of them is somewhere else, replaying the exact second your energy came close enough to touch. This is not something they can simply shake off. It follows them quietly, like warmth still lingering on their skin, like a song that keeps playing long after the room has gone silent. What unsettles them most is not the memory itself, but how alive it feels. They are not only remembering what happened, They are feeling it again. The nearness, the stillness, the strange peace, the way time seemed to narrow until everything outside that moment lost importance. They may try to call it attraction, but that word will feel too small. They may try to blame it on emotion, timing, chemistry, curiosity, but none of those explanations will be strong enough to carry the weight of what opened inside them. Something deeper was touched, and once the soul has tasted safety, it does not easily return to the wilderness. This is where their inner world begins to change without asking for permission. They may find themselves checking your profile, not in a cold or careless way, but because they need proof that you are real. They may reread old messages, remember the way you looked at them, wonder if you felt the same fire moving beneath the silence. They may start creating small excuses to be near you, to hear your voice, to step back into the atmosphere they once tried to avoid. And each time they think they have regained control, one small reminder of you pulls them back into the truth. But listen carefully, this is not about obsession in a dark or possessive way. This is recognition. This is the heart realizing it has found something it cannot replace. This is someone who once trained themselves to stay detached, suddenly discovering that detachment no longer feels like freedom. It feels like exile. It feels like standing outside a kingdom they were invited to enter but were too afraid to approach. Your presence has become a sacred interruption in their life. And now, every temporary thing they once accepted begins to lose its taste. They are starting to understand that you are not just someone they want. You are someone who changed the direction of their desire. You made them want honesty where they once settled for distance. You made them want peace where they once survived on control. You made them want a future where they once only planned an escape. And when someone who used to run from love suddenly starts fearing life without you, heaven has already begun the acceleration. Something begins to happen after they realize they cannot return to the person they were before you. At first, it may come quietly, a thought they did not expect, a picture in their mind, a small vision of a life where they no longer have to keep running. They may imagine sitting beside you in peace, hearing your voice at the end of a difficult day, waking up without the need to perform, explain, defend, or hide. These thoughts may surprise them because this is not how they used to think. They were used to keeping things temporary. They were used to leaving space for escape. But now, when they think about you, escape no longer feels like freedom. It feels like losing the one place where their soul finally learned how to breathe. This is the moment they begin to see you differently. You are no longer just someone they are drawn to. You are no longer just the person who made their heart race or their mind wander. You are becoming part of a future they did not know they were brave enough to want. And that is serious. Because when a guarded heart starts imagining tomorrow with someone, something sacred has already crossed the line. Their inner blueprint is changing. The old design built around fear, distance, and self-protection is being rewritten by a greater hand. What once looked impossible now begins to feel appointed. What once felt dangerous now begins to feel like divine provision. They may catch themselves wondering what it would be like to choose you openly, not in secret, not in confusion, not in small moments hidden between hesitation and fear. Truly choose you, to protect what is growing, to build something stable, to stop treating love like a threat and start recognizing it as a gift. That thought alone can shake them, because choosing you means they must become someone who can be trusted with you. It means old games must end. Old doors must close. Old versions of themselves must be left behind. Maybe you have sensed this shift already. Maybe their eyes feel different now. Maybe their silence carries more weight. Maybe their energy around you has changed, even if their words have not caught up yet. Sometimes the spirit feels movement before the situation shows evidence. Sometimes heaven lets you feel the coming rain before the floodgates open. And if you have ever looked at someone and felt, deep inside, something is changing here, then you know this is not small. This is the kind of quiet shift that happens before a major breakthrough. They are beginning to understand that being with you does not feel like a cage. It feels like peace. It feels like home. It feels like standing under light after years of walking through storm after storm, pretending the darkness was normal. With you, they do not only imagine passion, they imagine rest. They imagine honesty. They imagine a love that does not require them to become less of themselves in order to be accepted. And for someone who has lived so long in emotional survival, that kind of love feels almost impossible to believe, yet impossible to ignore. So pay attention, not with anxiety, but with discernment. Do not chase signs out of fear, but do not dismiss the sacred signals either. When someone starts seeing you as part of their future, their spirit will reveal it before their mouth can explain it. Have you been sensing that someone is seeing you differently lately? Comment, I see the shift. Because before they can step fully into your life, there are doors they must close behind them. Do not confuse their silence with rejection. Silence can hurt, especially when you feel something deep but see no clear movement in front of you. It can make you question your worth, your discernment, your timing, even the quiet confirmation you felt in your spirit. You may have wondered, if this is real, why are they not speaking? If they feel it too, why are they still holding back? But not every pause means the door is closed. Sometimes a pause is heaven protecting you from receiving someone before they are ready to stand in truth. They may be quiet because there are things behind them that must be finished before they can walk toward you with clean hands and a steady heart. Old attachments, old fears, old habits, old wounds that still speak louder than faith. They may be confronting parts of themselves they avoided for years, and that process is not always visible from the outside. You may only see distance, but heaven may be seeing construction. You may only feel delay, but God may be removing confusion before it reaches your life. This is important. You were not set apart to become a waiting room for someone's disorder. You were not chosen to beg for clarity, chase mixed signals, or lower your spirit just to make someone comfortable in their fear. If God is preparing them, He is also protecting you. He is not allowing a half-healed heart to mishandle what He has marked as sacred. Love that is truly appointed must be able to carry responsibility. It must be able to speak clearly, choose honestly, and remain steady when emotion is no longer the only thing holding it together. Think about Joseph. He was thrown into a pit, sold, forgotten, and delayed. Yet none of those seasons canceled the dream God placed over his life. The delay did not destroy him. It prepared him for the palace. What looked like abandonment was actually formation. What looked like silence was actually divine positioning. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, He has made everything beautiful in its time, not in your panic, not in their fear, not according to the pressure of people watching from the outside, in His time. So if they have not fully stepped forward yet, breathe. Do not surrender your peace to what has not been revealed. Do not let uncertainty make you forget who you are. The same God who is dealing with their hidden battles is also strengthening your spirit, sharpening your discernment, and teaching you not to confuse delay with denial. What is meant for you will not require you to abandon yourself to receive it. And now, the timeline begins. 7 days, 21 days, and 40 days of sacred confirmation. Now, listen closely, because this is where the season begins to reveal its pattern. There are moments when heaven does not move loudly at first. It moves through small signs, quiet confirmations, sudden peace, unexpected messages, dreams that feel heavier than ordinary dreams, and doors that begin to unlock without your forcing them. In the next 7 days, pay attention. Not with fear, not with desperation, with discernment. You may notice the first sacred signal, a name appearing again, a memory returning with unusual weight, a conversation shifting, a message arriving, or a strange peace entering your spirit right when you were about to doubt everything. That will be your first sign that something is moving beneath the surface. 7 days is the beginning of recognition. It is the first sound of rain after a long, dry wilderness. It may not be the full breakthrough yet, but it will be enough to remind you that heaven has not forgotten what it showed you. Something small may happen, but it will carry unusual meaning. A simple word may feel like confirmation. A delayed response may finally arrive. A person who seemed distant may begin to soften. A door that felt locked may suddenly show a crack of light. Do not despise the first sign, because small signs often carry the blueprint of a greater promise. Then comes the 21-day window. This is where confirmation begins to multiply. What was once hidden starts becoming harder to ignore. You may see repeated signs, clearer actions, stronger dreams, unexpected financial movement, restored communication, or divine connections appearing at the exact right moment. In the book of Daniel, the answer was released from the first day, but there was spiritual resistance before the message fully arrived. That means delay does not always mean absence. Sometimes the answer is already moving, but there is a battle around its arrival. During these 21 days, heaven may begin aligning more than one area of your life. This is not only about one person. This is about restoration. You may see provision where there was pressure. You may receive help you did not expect. You may feel strength returning to your body, clarity returning to your mind, and softness returning to places in your heart that disappointment had hardened. Broken relationships may begin to shift. Conversations that once felt impossible may open. What you lost may not return in the same form, but God knows how to restore with greater wisdom, deeper peace, and stronger protection. And then comes the 40-day mark. 40 is not a light number in Scripture. It speaks of testing, transition, wilderness, preparation, and emergence. After 40 days, something in your life may no longer look the same. The version of you that begged for signs will be replaced by the version of you that walks with authority. The version of you that feared being forgotten will be replaced by the version that understands divine timing. Isaiah 4:3-19 says, "Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth." That is the sound of acceleration. That is the sound of floodgates opening after a long season of restraint. So do not panic in the first 7 days. Do not lose faith in the 21. Do not underestimate what God can transform by the 40th. Archangel Michael says, "The delay was not denial. The delay was divine construction. What looked quiet was being built. What looked hidden was being protected. What looked slow was being prepared with precision." But the final secret is this: the kiss is not the beginning. It is the confirmation of what heaven already started. And now, this is the final secret. Heaven needed you to understand the kiss is not the beginning. The kiss is the confirmation. The connection did not start in that moment. The fire did not begin there. The pull, the memory, the ache, the recognition, the strange way they kept thinking about you even when they tried not to. All of it was already alive beneath the surface. That first kiss only removes the final veil. It gives their heart permission to admit what their spirit already knew. You are not someone they can simply experience and forget. You are not a passing chapter, a temporary emotion, or a beautiful distraction. You are the person who awakened something in them that fear had buried for years. This is why they will not recover from you in the way they recovered from others. Other people may have touched their attention, but you touched their hidden place. Other people may have entertained their loneliness, but you confronted their emptiness without even trying. Other people may have made them feel wanted for a moment, but you made them feel seen, known, and strangely safe. That is the difference. You did not just stir desire in them. You stirred remembrance. You made their soul remember what love was supposed to feel like before pain taught them to run. And chosen one, do not take that lightly. God did not set you apart so you could beg to be valued. He did not place light in you so you could chase someone through their darkness. Your assignment is not to force them to choose, but your presence has already revealed what they must choose. Around you, their old life does not feel the same. Their old excuses do not sound convincing anymore. Their old walls do not feel like protection. They feel like prison. That is why this is so serious. You have become a divine interruption in the pattern that once controlled them. They are beginning to understand that love with you would not be a cage. It would be freedom. It would be peace. It would be a home they did not know they were still searching for. And because of that, they will have to decide whether they want to keep surviving behind walls or finally step through the divine door that is opened in front of them. The hidden key was not only the kiss. The hidden key was the realization that what they feel with you cannot be replaced by anything shallow, temporary, or convenient. So receive this with strength, not fear. If they are meant to come forward, they will come with clarity. If God is truly preparing them, He will not send them back into your life carrying the same confusion that once hurt you. Heaven is not asking you to lower your standard. Heaven is asking you to recognize your worth. You are not too much. You are not too intense. You are not imagining the weight of this connection. You are simply carrying a light that exposes what is real and what can no longer remain hidden. And when they finally understand it, they will know. They will know why they could not forget you. They will know why silence did not erase you. They will know why one moment with you stayed longer than entire seasons with someone else. Because heaven did not send you to be forgotten. Heaven sent you to be recognized. If this message confirmed what your spirit has been feeling, comment 777 right now. Declare, I am ready for restoration. Like this video. Subscribe to this channel. And share this message with someone who needs to be reminded that divine timing never fails. Your season is shifting. The door is opening. The final secret has been revealed. They will not recover from you. Because what God marked through you cannot be undone.